she's leaving the series, and how she became pals with Meghan. Plus, Paula Ferris is live in London to spill tea on the splendor and scandals of tomorrow's royal wedding. And Alyssa Milano's guest co-hosting. Let's get this party started with Joy Behar, Sarah Haynes, Sunny Hostin, and Meghan McCain. Now, let's get things started.
To The View. Joining us as guest co-host today, please welcome the lovely and talented actress and activist, Alyssa Milano.
Thank you for having me.
We have a lot to talk to you, but let's just start with this first, because anyone who watches this show knows that I laugh at the White House almost every day. If I can laugh, sometimes I cry. But they're trying to show that they can laugh at themselves, too. Isn't that nice? In a new video where they weigh in on the Laurel/Yanni debate. Take a look.
So clearly Laurel.
Definitely Laurel.
It's Laurel. But I could deflect and divert to Yanni if you need me to.
Yanni's a winner, Laurel's a loser.
Sarah, it's been reported that you hear Laurel. How do you respond?
Clearly you're getting your information from CNN because that's fake news. All I hear is Yanni.
Who's Yanni?
I hear Kofefi.
You know, usually I say don't quit your day job, but in this case, quit your day jobs.
I liked it because we always say that they don't laugh at themselves ever, and we've said if you could have a sense of humor, then maybe that would help. This is I don't think they should have been as scripted, because there are times you can say if they just would have answered honestly, it could have been just a little funnier. But
See,
I
laughed. The problem. Answer honestly. They can't do that.
And also, again, the dig to the media, which drives me crazy that they can't even make something funny without digging CNN.
That's right.
But they're digging it because that's her line. She always says it. So she's. I took it as making fun of herself. Like
I loved it. I loved Kofefe too, because I mean I was so into the Kofefe thing.
That's funny.
And the fact that he was able to finally maybe poke fun at himself, I think it's a step in the right direction.
Well, no, he's done it before.
I mean, listen, I'm not in the mood for any jokes coming out of the White House right now still. I've got a lot of issues right now with what they think is funny, what they don't think is funny.
I'm
not on the side of this, as everybody knows, and I just think it's hard for me to find this amusing. I also think there's a way to do comedy. I remember Joe Biden and Julia Louis-Dreyfus did this sketch together for the White House Correspondents' Dinner that I had tears coming out of my eyes. It was so funny. And I think, like, okay, if you're going to be funny, get some joke writers in there and make it really funny. And this is just kind of like, oh, we're like all Americans and we're laughing, but we're going to make death jokes still and like all this stuff. And I don't find if any of this funny or amusing right now.
Well, they did use Kofefi as the punchline. Using the punchline to deliver the punchline.
Yes.
But so it had an arc. It was like this, and then they got to the punchline.
Do you like it? You're the comedian.
Well, it was all right. I mean, I don't want to put it down 100%. It was somewhat amusing.
Okay.
That's all.
So look, you're giving them more than I am.
On the Joy Behar curve, that's like an 8.
That's pretty big.
Right.
I give them a 6.
I just feel like if this administration was doing things seriously, then they're allowed to poke fun at themselves. But because it is all so over the top in this ludicrous way, to then poke fun at themselves, it's like we do that every day. Like, we don't need you doing it either. Like, make some real policy change.
They try to show they have a sense.
Attempt. I just think tonally at this moment, given the controversy with the statement that landed wrong or whatever about my dad last week, I'm still not in the laughing mood.
You're not amused.
But as you know, I don't always have the best sense of humor, Joy.
Well, you know what I think. I told her that one day when she got me mad about something. But I think you have.
I'm not always. I totally agree.
I don't think that you're off camera. You have a great sense of humor. Sometimes
you're funny off camera.
Thanks, guys.
On camera too sometimes.
On camera, she's you notice it's getting better.
You're loosening up.
Yeah.
We're getting to you.
I had a rough few weeks, and my girls on The View were here for me.
That's right. So Melissa, let's talk about you a little bit, because you've been very involved with the Me Too movement. I mean, I think you propelled it, basically, that phrase, did you not?
Well, Tarana Burke started this movement about 10 years ago, and I propelled it on social media with the hashtag. And basically, I said if there were any women that had been sexually assaulted or harassed, please just write Me Too, and you don't have to name your... And I woke up 7 hours later to 32,000 responses.
Unbelievable.
And within 24 hours, it had hit 85 different countries and been tweeted like over 14 million times. So
it unmasked, really.
It really unmasked. It was the perfect storm, though, I think, between what was going on with Harvey Weinstein and the fact that we elected a president that,
grabs him by the covfefe.
That's so funny.
And that every day we were seeing our rights almost, stripped away. So I just think it was this perfect storm that enabled it to become something special.
Exactly.
And a movement.
A necessary movement.
A necessary movement.
The other thing is you are close friends, I understand, with Georgina Chapman, who is Harvey Weinstein's ex-wife at this point. I believe they're
ex-wife, divorce is final. Yes.
And Anna Wintour from Vogue magazine just defended Georgina, saying that she knew nothing. But so far, there are more than 80 women, 80, who have made accusations against Harvey Weinstein. So I have to ask, is it possible to know nothing when there are 80 women that he allegedly assaulted?
Well, I think with men, oftentimes, when something like this comes out, everyone's like, there was a reputation there. I think when referring to men, often we hear of reputations, but that is kind of philandering, or he's definitely not faithful to his wife. I don't think that necessarily translates. Maybe with Harvey Weinstein it's different, but to assault or harassment or criminal activity. Reputations can sometimes seem much more.
I can tell you this. I've known Georgina for 7 years now. We've raised our kids together. I've sat next to her in Project Runway All-Stars. There is no possible way that she knew that he was assaulting women.
What do you think she did know?
Maybe they had some sort of arrangement or a marriage that was open, or she was just aware that, maybe he was a flirt or someone that could get, a little too close. But there's no doubt in my mind that she did not know that he was potentially raping women. There's no way. Well, and I think she's a victim as much as the women that he hurt is.
Sonny.
Well, I mean, she said to Vogue magazine that she thought they had a happy marriage and that she didn't know. And, I prosecuted sex crimes against women. And I can tell you a lot, and interfamily sex crimes. And a lot of people came into my office and said, I had no idea that this was going on under my roof. And some of them I believed. And I think, there are perpetrators that show one face to one person and are very, very different and demonic to other people. Yeah. So I would believe that perhaps she did not know.
Part of that disease, that predator behavior, is to be able to hide it really well.
And they pick their prey. There
were comedians making jokes about it. Seth MacFarlane made a joke about it. Tina Fey's show, 30 Rock, they had a little reference to it.
You accept the reality of the world you're in, and you don't necessarily look outside of it. I just know from friends of mine who have experiences with their husbands cheating and just being so blown away when it came out. But I will say, my experience with this, and we were talking about this in the green room, is Karen and Georgina designed my wedding dress.
Right.
And I had bought my wedding dress before the scandal broke. It broke while it was literally the day before I was going to do a fitting. There's my dress. And it's so pretty, by the way.
Beautiful.
And I would just like to say that. Thank you.
So gorgeous.
Thank you very much. They were so lovely to me. I got married in a really intensely emotional time. They couldn't have been nicer. And I thought at the time, because my publicist was like, are you going to keep the dress right now? And I said, I'm not going to penalize women for the actions of men. I'm also not going to penalize this entire company.
I love that you wore that dress.
Thank you very much.
I love that you wore that dress. I love that Scarlett Johansson wore Marchesa to the Met Ball. This is is not Georgina's fault, and she's too talented, she's too lovely of a person to not come out of this on the other side and be okay.
Well,
I'm just praying for her.
She's so talented. Her designs are so beautiful, and I have to say, for me, I was like with my stylist Lauren Sample, who I love. I was like, I do not have time, and I need to find a designer who can fit my body, because I have literally I had 3 days to do it, and there are designers that fit women with all types of bodies, and that's
her
also
designs go up to a 22, you said.
They go up very high. I don't remember the one. I'm at 14, but I just remember being like, it fit perfectly. It was amazing, and I just think that her talent, the part I didn't like was people were saying that she only had these designs or she's only this popular because of him. But her talent, her dresses are arbitrarily gorgeous.
Yeah.
So,
Sonny, read the statement, please.
Harvey Weinstein has denied any allegations of non-consensual sex.
Oh, yeah, we've heard that.
I just wanted to add, though, that, and he has denied non-consensual sex allegations. I just want to add, oftentimes we do blame the wife or the woman for the sins of the man and of the husband. Right. And maybe we need to step away from that. Why is she being held responsible for what he did?
Well, because she was there, I guess. Yeah. It's like, I don't want to open up a whole can of words, but it's like Ruth Madoff. She didn't know what her husband was up to? Come on.
Well, I think, yes, I'm fascinated by that.
Yeah, I mean, the mafia wives, I don't know anything. The fact that we have this humongous house in New Jersey with a yacht, I don't know anything. And he says he's going to a construction site every day. But should they be? We'll be right back with more.
Later. Uncharitable behavior? Why Real Housewife Carol Radziwill is slamming Bethany Frankel for her Puerto Rican relief efforts. Next week on The View, they shook up The Bachelor, now they shake up the table. Ari and Lauren stop by and reveal exclusive details about their upcoming wedding only to The View. And Michelle Wolf goes from roasting Washington to heating up Hot Topics in her first live television interview since that dinner. Plus, the one and only Snoop Dogg is coming to hang. Next week on The View. Still ahead, Real Housewife of Beverly Hills, Erika Jayne. And Paula's live in London with the latest on tomorrow's royal wedding.
Welcome back. So, here's more proof that these Real Housewives of New York can turn anything into a feud. Anything. Carol Radziwill is slamming Bethany Frankel for her relief efforts to Puerto Rico hurricane victims, accusing her of making a public spectacle out of it to make herself look good. But you know what? I mean, if she's helping people, what's the difference, really?
And everything is a photo op nowadays.
Especially with housewives on shows.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, I wish our president would go there for a photo op, just to we haven't heard about any. Puerto Rico is still in a very rough spot, and I don't know what this administration is doing, but I'd say good for Bethany.
Well, so Bethany is on TV with this? I don't understand.
Yeah. I just, of course, my heart, I'm Puerto Rican, and so I think that the work that she has done there has been helpful, and I think that's wonderful. But for me, that is just not the true meaning of charity. I don't think you go to a disaster area with personal photographers and videographers following you, watching you hug people. I mean, I know a lot of people have reached out to me on social media. Well, what are you doing for Puerto Rico? You all know the amount of charitable work that I do, because I really believe that you can't live a perfect day unless you do something for someone who can never repay you. And I try to live by that. And no one knows the amount of work that I've done with Puerto Rico. No one knows the amount of charitable work, because I do it for people, and I do it because it's the right thing to do. I don't do it so that I can grow a platform.
Well, I want to believe that everyone's motivated from the purest part of their heart, but I think there are also tons of people that do it for the photographs, for the boards they can be on, for the attention from friends. And to me, I'm like, write the check, I don't care why you do it. We'll take it and cash it. Like, I don't care why people help people. I'm
there
not
is that,
question.
Sonny. You know,
Just,
but also using her platform to still raise awareness for something that nobody is talking about anymore, I think is really important. I don't know that many people would be thinking about Puerto Rico if she weren't out there sort of.
And to your point, it sort of shames the administration.
Yes,
well,
sure.
Again, I mean, I think a lot of people knew what Puerto Rico was going through. There are a lot of us that have been working tirelessly since the hurricane to help the island, but we're working because we want to.
Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes. We're not working because we need a videographer behind us capturing moments.
Do you want to say something?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the charities that I have involvement in have a lot to do with veterans, and I always think of Gary Sinise with the Lieutenant Dan Band, and that he goes around to so many different areas and bases and troops, and I think he actually is doing something in Coronado this weekend or last weekend, and that there is something to an element of celebrity that gets people excited. That's why USO tours occur and things like that. So I'm not negating that element. I'm so mixed on it because with you, like people are writing the check. Does the motivation matter? I don't know. Personally, on the Real Housewives, Real Housewives is total escapism, and it's interesting that they're taking this turn where they're just doing very serious issues that is talked about on the news right now.
Yeah. You should always show the fake housewives. Why don't they do that?
Yeah.
I'll do that one.
The sign of the times.
The backlash is growing against New York attorney Aaron Schlossberg, whose racist rant was caught on video. Watch this guy.
Your staff is speaking Spanish to customers when they should be speaking English. My guess is they're not documented. So my next call is to ICE to have each one of them kicked out of my country. Every person I listen to, he spoke it, she's speaking it, is America. I pay for their welfare, I pay for their ability to be here. The least they can do is speak welfare.
Okay, what an idiot. Okay, But since this video went viral, he was booted out of the office space he rents, and there are calls to take away his law license.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe he can team up with, what's his name, Michael Cohen. How much should this guy be punished exactly?
I think, go ahead.
I just think for all the evils of social media, this is when it works, right? Because they called out this behavior, and I think he should be punished. I think there should be consequences for that. What is shocking to me is the United States is one of the only countries where it is prideful to only speak one language. It's like we're one of the only monolingual countries in the world.
I know.
He himself speaks Spanish, yet is saying in America you should only speak English, and it really struck a chord with me because I remember growing up with my grandmother who spoke a little bit of English, but Spanish, of course, is her first language. It's my first language as well. And people would say to her, speak of the English. And I just remember having that experience, and as if speaking two languages was something to be ashamed of.
Yeah.
Well,
and I think that's pretty disgusting.
Can I say one thing really quick? This happened in Midtown Manhattan. This is very close to here, Midtown Manhattan. And I think sometimes when we think of like outward racism, you think of a certain type of person in the Deep South. This is happening in Midtown with a lawyer who lives here.
He's a Trump voter, first of all.
But
he is.
That's
a fact.
You're saying it's a Northeast.
But the point is, I think that I think sometimes it's easy to just say this type of group of people, this type of person.
It shows a different face of racism.
I agree, because it's everywhere.
Yeah, but the White House sets the tone against immigrants. And so people feel like it's a free day to just go after immigrants.
Would you expect this to happen in Midtown Manhattan?
And born and raised. He grew up in Pennsylvania. He went to Johns Hopkins, George Washington University Law. He went to a private boys' school. He's a well-educated Northeastern person.
Bigot.
That's not what you think.
He's a well-educated Northeastern bigot.
But they don't normally come together. So
The thing that upsets me the most is that people seem to be wearing their racism on their sleeves.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Very
comfortably. They've been given permission.
They're putting their scarves on, their racist scarves.
They're proud of it now. It's okay to be proud of being a racist now. It's awful.
But you know, Megan, there are at least 8 million people in this naked city, and a lot of them. Tell them I'm okay with it.
All right, Paula, as we know, know Meghan's father, Thomas, is not going to attend because he recently underwent heart surgery. Do we know how he's doing?
Yes, but let me just tell you, I want to contextualize and preface everything that TMZ has been the one reporting the heart surgery and that he had 3 stents that were implanted into one of his vessels. But we can say that Thomas Markle's health has not been great for a long time. He has high blood pressure. He walks with a limp. He badly needs a knee replacement. And we have not seen photos. We should say we have not seen photos of Thomas Markle either entering the hospital or leaving the hospital, Meghan.
Hey, Paula, it's Sunny. People are very excited here in the U.S.
Sunny.
Hi, babe. I'm extremely excited about this. I'm out of my mind obsessed. As you know, I'll be up at 4:30 tomorrow morning. What is the buzz out there?
Not surprised. Not surprised. Well, you guys, I think there's a ton of buzz here, but there's a whole lot of buzz back in America. Two reasons. Because Harry is the most popular in the royal family. He is beloved by everyone. But also there's a lot of interest because of Meghan. Yeah, he's adorable. Meghan is going to be, she's biracial. She's a divorcee. She's an American. History is going to be made. But a whole lot of buzz. If you want, I can bring you guys back one of these. It's an official replica of the engagement ring.
I want it!
You want that?
Yeah, we all do.
I want it!
Who wants it? I have an extra one.
Oh.
All right, go to the...
I think Joy knows it's going to go to her.
Just go to the store and buy a bunch of them. We'll give you the money back.
Yeah. Okay, I will. I don't know if we have it in the budget.
All right. You know who else looks great? The old guy, Prince Philip. He's still cute.
Handsome.
He's still cute.
Yeah.
97.
All right.
Okay, ABC News royal wedding coverage starts at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning, and Sunny will be there. And there's an extended edition of GMA happening. Robin Roberts and David Muir lead live coverage from Windsor, England. Thank you, Paula. Have fun. We'll be right back. Alyssa, you just wrote an article in Time magazine where you open up about you have an anxiety disorder.
Yes,
and you
I
talk
have
about
a mental illness, and I am going to say it just like that because I feel like there is such a stigma around mental illness, and I want people to know that if you have anxiety, depression, whatever your mental illness may be, you are not alone, and it just makes me feel better to know that I'm not alone. And I know you struggled with postpartum as well. And there are 44 million Americans that are suffering from mental illnesses. Just under the latest Trump tax plan passed in December, 13 million Americans will lose health insurance. So to me, I think we have to rededicate ourselves to really making mental illness a priority. And to give people the services that they need to be better, to feel better, because...
What happened to you?
Well, I've struggled with anxiety disorder my whole life, but after I had my son Milo, it got really bad, and it was postpartum anxiety, and I felt just overwhelmed, and I was working at the time, and it you know, for me, my anxiety manifests itself very physically. Like I get a knot in my stomach where it feels like someone's wringing out a washcloth, and I get shaky and I can't breathe, and
like a panic attack.
It's a panic attack, but it's generalized, so it's always in that state, and then a panic attack on top of that would be So it was very difficult being a new mother, dealing with that. I had myself committed. I actually went to a mental institution.
You walked in yourself?
I went into an emergency room and asked to speak to the psychiatrist and had them drive me to, because I felt like I couldn't do it on my own, and I looked totally fine, and that's the thing with mental illness is you look totally fine, and I needed help, and people just kept telling me, you're fine, you could go for a hike, it's a big change having a baby, and I knew I wasn't okay. So
what did they do for you?
Well, you know, it was intensive talking and treatment and really just kind of figuring out if there was a pattern that went on, what my triggers were. I mean, obviously, I'm also a sexual abuse survivor, so a lot of it had to do with that. And childbirth, which I don't think people talk about, that if you're a sexual abuse survivor, it is very difficult to give birth because it's such an invasive procedure. It is. And I think more people need to talk about that before women give birth. And really, this issue of mental health right now is really important because we're going to see more Americans losing their coverage, losing their insurance, and less access to the help that they need. And we're seeing, you know, this administration blame a lot of these mass shootings, which we had another one this morning.
Texas.
In Texas.
Santa Fe, Texas.
Santa Fe, Texas. We see this administration blaming these mass shootings on mental illness. And I just want to say, if that's what you're going to blame it on, then you got to step up to the plate and do something for the people of this country and get them the care that they need. Not going to be the administration, then I think the NRA should stand up there and help us fund mental health programs throughout the country and get people the help that they need.
But we should also say mentally ill people are less likely to commit these
We're more
murders.
likely to hurt ourselves than we are other people.
Exactly.
Right, and if you don't have the right insurance, you can't just walk into a facility the way you did.
No, I mean, I was so blessed.
Right,
I had people around me that could help. What does the mother do that doesn't have
already more
people?
vulnerable.
Thank you. Thanks for telling everybody that. That's very brave of you. Alyssa has also, she's working, she's beautiful. There's a new series streaming on Netflix later this year called Insatiable. We'll be right back.
Why does Real Housewife of Beverly Hills, Erika Jayne, say it takes 40 grand a month to be her? And is she really leaving the show? She's live on The View next. All of Washington, everyone was talking about her.
People were outraged by Michelle Wolf's material.
If a tree falls in the woods, how do we get Kellyanne under that tree?
So did she go too far?
She is there to come and push the envelope. That's what comedians do.
A lot of Republicans I know were really angry about this. I thought it was distasteful.
So now, what's Michelle Wolf have to say? Well, Wednesday, in her first live television interview since that dinner, you can be sure she won't hold anything back.
Dance music star and Real Housewife of Beverly Hills, Erika Jayne, is my perfect escape from the dumpster fire happening in politics right now. So the rumors better not be true that she's leaving the show. Please welcome author of the new book, Pretty Mess, the one, the only Miss Erika Jayne.
It's expensive to be
time, so that's why we didn't get up.
But I had to hug my girl.
Yes.
I love you.
I love you.
So we are friends. We are friends. We became friends because we were both on Watch What Happens Live, and one bleached blonde to another. Obviously, you are the mothership of all things good. You tweeted this picture saying Erika has left the building, and panic attacks went through my group of friends that you are possibly leaving the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. For the good of America, this can't be true. Please tell me that it isn't.
I was channeling Elvis, and everybody had a meltdown. I mean, you know, let a girl live. You know the answer.
Yeah, she is not leaving
I'm not
the show.
Okay, and you're a singer, a dancer. You're known for your style and over-the-top looks. You've said it takes $40,000 a month to be Erika Jayne, but can you clarify what that means?
I can, and thank you for bringing that up.
What kind of face cream are you using?
Well, not it ain't that good.
You look amazing.
Thank you, baby.
I mean, I'm like this close to your face. You are.
No, hard costs, hair, makeup, accessories, you know, work stuff,
Beauty
work
stuff.
expenses. Yeah, yeah.
That's a lot of money.
It is.
But it's
For sure.
You're telling the person that not to spend it.
Yeah, right. You're telling, yes.
I found it interesting that you, in your late 30s, you had a complete career change, or you were, I don't know what your career was before, but you were basically a housewife, I understand.
That's right. I grew up in performing arts, and at 35, I decided I wanted to get back in, and so I did. I put one foot in front of the other.
How did you do that? People need a couple of details.
You know, I decided that I was unfulfilled. And got back to arts and just really put myself out there.
Well, and was there a trigger? I mean, mine was caused by poverty. What was yours?
Mine was caused by, well, I just didn't want regrets at the end of my life. And I had grown up in the theater, and I thought, you know what, I need to go back.
And now you became this big dancing star.
She's an
International entertainment star. This was interesting to me. Your husband, Tom Girardi, is 32-year-old.
33.
33 years. Wow. I thought it was 32. 33 years older than you are, and the age difference always seems to come up with people.
It does. Even though we've been together 20 years, married 18. Yeah, but I think it's like one of those old cliches. You know, you couldn't possibly have anything in common. You couldn't possibly like the same things, but that's
You got
not
married
true.
for the money, stuff
All
like
of that. Yeah.
I understand he was the lawyer in the Erin Brockovich case.
He's the person that tried. Yeah, he's trial attorney, yeah.
The person who was played by Coyote, Peter Coyote?
Peter Coyote played.
Remember the movie? That's her
He
husband?
must be so inspiring to be married to.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because that's a lot of the reason that I had the courage to go be Erika Jayne was because of my husband. You know, and watching him, and he's been totally supportive.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's cool.
Well, I read the book, and
Oh, you did?
I
Cool.
did, and you talk so much about your childhood and how you were always a performer, which I thought was so because I was a performer at 7 years old.
Yes,
so
I've watched too.
so I totally get it. But what I was most fascinated by was your relationship with your mother, which seems like there's a lot of love there, but it also seems like she didn't always speak to you as kindly as you would have liked. So I'd love to hear from your perspective, because I'm raising a little girl.
Well, I feel like my mother was treating me the way the world was treating her, and I think she, you know, she was a single mom, young, and she wanted me to stand on my own 2 feet and to be strong, and I think that that's what her intent was. And you know, we have a great relationship, a little bit, you know, but we have a great relationship. We speak every day, and I love her very much, and I wouldn't have it any other way. You know, and I think that there's conflict in every mother-daughter relationship.
That's why I asked.
And you know what?
I'm already seeing it, and my daughter's 3.
Right. Well, just you wait.
Yeah,
You know, there's no perfect mother-daughter relationship. There's no perfect parent.
No, there certainly isn't.
Parenting is the only thing you could fail at every single day.
And still do it again.
And still have to keep doing it.
You know, Erika, you and I received the same kind of criticism, which is why I think I bonded with you originally. We're both icy, we're both cold,
We
all
are.
the things.
It's terrible, Megan.
Terrible. And I have to say, you and I also feuded with the same housewife. I unintentionally got into a big feud with Teddy Mellencamp for saying that she's boring, which you still are, and I'm not taking it back. Do you think that she was a good addition to the show?
My friend Yolanda Hadid, who brought me onto the show, said it best. Each woman fills a specific slot. Everyone bonds to their favorite girl. Someone may like you, someone may like her. You know, so there's enough for everyone. If everyone was the same, the show would be boring.
It's like The View.
It's like it is. It is, Sonny. It's very much like The View.
Yeah, no bitch on this show's boring, though. I'm sorry. Okay, final question I have for you. I didn't get to have a bachelorette party because I had to get married very quickly. You were so sweet when you found out I was engaged. You said, I want to perform at your bachelorette party. I want to do a post-marriage bachelorette party. Will you please perform at it?
Absolutely.
Oh.
Can I We can't do it right now. But, baby, well, you know what's so funny is I'm on a plane to Vegas right after this, and if you weren't busy, I'd take you with me. Let's plan this out, and yes, I will. I would
Can I
love
come,
to.
Megan? Can I come?
Amazing.
No phones, no cameras. We'll have a good time.
Oh, I don't do that anyway. Erika, I am obsessed with you. I love you. You genuinely have inspired me in a really dark time in my life. I really do. Watch the show, Joy. All right. Our thanks to the one and only Erika Jayne. Members of our audience are going home with her book, Pretty Magic.
View your deal. And salute to a maverick. How Meghan's dad, Senator John McCain, is opening up about his service, sacrifice, life, and legacy like never before.
Pretty scared.
We will look forward to that interview about your dad.
The filmmakers and my dad's longtime speechwriter are coming on, and Sonny's in the documentary.
Thanks to Alyssa Milano for guest hosting. Have a great day. Have a